Hey, what's happening, moviegoers, and welcome yet again to another 1-3 movie reviews, Cinema Thursdays. As promised, today's Cinema Thursdays is on Man of Steel, which was directed by Zack Snyder and produced by Chris Nolan, who recently concluded his own superhero franchise, the Dark Knight trilogy, which many of you would remember. That's the one that had Heath Ledger as the Joker in the second installment. But that's not on the point. Okay, so yeah, and then still Henry Cavill stars as Superman. Yeah, Amy Adams plays Lois Lane. Michael Shannon plays Zod. Russell Crowe plays Jor-El. And Chow, don't really know how to pronounce that name, plays Farrah Ul, one of Zod's second in commands. At least one of them. Her character's name of his second in commands is the only one that's easy to keep track of. But anyhow, and Diane Lane plays Martha Kent. As there's also a couple of counterparts to some of these characters that were killed off early during their appearance, such as Jor-El's wife, and also Martha Kent's husband, both of which died early within the time period of them being shown. Though, as in the case of Morphin's husband, is shown in multiple flashbacks. Okay, so the movie starts out with the famous destruction of Krypton and the suspected, and being suspected by Jor-El, who prepares to send his son, Kal-El, to Earth, which would be a good atmosphere, as Kryptonians' skin is thickened a whole lot more to the point that they have superpowers on Earth. And it goes into a battle with Zod, who, due to the murder of Jor-El's wife, is sentenced to the Phantom Zone. Remains for a good part of the beginning of the movie. At which point is where I have my first problem with the movie. You see, after the crash landing of the infant Kal-El's ship into the Kent's farm in Kansas, it goes into a lot of flashbacks that to describe about his childhood on Earth. But at least one point, you have a flashback that seems like it could be itself a flashback as well, having thus two flashbacks, or it could be a present day thing. That flashback is the one, and that maybe flashback is the one where you have Clark Kent as an adult saving a rig that was about to explode. It could be that the The present day part was in the discovery of the ship that is supposed to be in place of the Fortress of Solitude. And there being two flashbacks at that point. Or it's the present day one, and the flashback is the only flashback being showing of him saving a person during childhood. And thus it gets confusing. At least at one time. It merges to that point. The film goes on to have Superman save Lois from a dangerous trek into the ship that's in place of the Fortress of Solitude, and him discovering from a hologram version of Jor-El, which was on a key that came with him, that also allowed Jor-El to access a Kryptonian ship's mainframe. Who he is and who he's meant to be, which is when he finds his suit and takes on his secret identity of Superman. Up until the start of the battle and the Doomsday, not as in the creature, but as in a proclamation, Doomsday Proclamation, Doomsday Ultimatum from General Zod about Earth. You have Superman trying to hide his identity and also discover all what powers he has, as he didn't find out about all of them throughout his childhood. And thus, just like the version of the Hulk in the old show, he is being dogged at by a reporter, in which, in this case, is Lois Lane, and he goes from, and that being the reason why he has to try extra hard to hide his secret identity. Then eventually it is shown about the ship that took Zod and his followers into the Phantom Zone being released, and they give a ultimatum about turning against Superman, to which eventually Superman gives in to him, and he only to find out what Zod's planning for Earth after himself being turned in. And this is where I find another problem with the movie. A little bit of spoilers here. Zod's plan was to use a machine and to turn Earth into a new Krypton, and thus I think this is the start of where, as I put it, upon finishing seeing this movie, they weren't being true to the characters. Zod, for instance, they have him as a patriot, the general, instead of one who is willing to just take over the Earth. He's planning on turning the Earth into a new Krypton, even though he was accused of treason, of high treason, and also being shown that they found out he murdered Charles' wife and sent to the Phantom Zone due to it, and him being angry at them for not just ending his life quickly. He still was shown to be patriotic, to to the point of wanting to create a new Krypton on Earth. And he would seem more of a character to try to take complete control of it instead. Well, as Superman, as shown during the fights, they're trying to make him a superhero on one hand, but on the other hand, they make him so much of a looking at himself as a god to the point that he doesn't keep his powers in check and causes a lot of collateral damage, even through doing something that it was his choice to do during the fight, and not just accidental. And it causes also a whole lot, and his actions during the fights cause a whole lot of human collateral damage. And even though this movie has really good fights and really good superhuman type fights and visual effects, like for the flying and the laser eyes and etc., I would have to say that the fact that they weren't being true to the characters was a pretty downer. Like, as I was saying, on the other hand, you have being so much of a god to that point that it seems like they are also making him into either into a version of Superman who thinks he's doing right, but doesn't care who he has to kill. Human collateral damage, not to the point. He's kind of like the version of Superman shown in the recent video game Injustice: Gods Among Us. And so even though it has a lot of good action, like superhuman type fights and visual effects, I would have to say, due to the fact of them not being true to the characters, and also to the confusion caused by all those cutscenes, that on a scale of 1 star being poor and 5 stars being excellent, I would have to give this movie a solid 4-star rating, which I find pretty generous, as seeing as how all front in the story they are as far as the characters go. But I don't know if you may agree with me or not, but that's the point of this. I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. So, and that's what I did. As I said earlier, on Tuesday, I am going to be out of town on vacation another time, and will not be available to do 1-3 next week due to that. But stay tuned for the week after, as I have a movie series reviews coming your way for both Classic Tuesdays and Cinema Thursdays. Cinema or genre, seeing as that movie might also be already out to DVD. But anyhow, until next week, have a good rest of the afternoon, and we'll catch you later, moviegoers. Bye.